moon's presence all through the 12 houses from the Lagna. Okay, last time we did this with sun. We have used the Ramayana to understand each position of sun from the Lagna. This time we will use the Mahabharata. The only request I make it to, I humbly say to everyone is, please do not think 8th house moon is a bad one and you don't have money or you don't have anything. Okay, 8th house moon, 6th house moon, it keeps the person unhappy. Sometimes being unhappy is important. If you are making an invention, right? If had Einstein been very happy, what he would have done? He would have done nothing. Okay, he would have rested all day. Because Einstein was unhappy, he always wanted to invent. Okay, take it in that sense. Okay, so moon in good positions can make the person lethargic. Okay, so this person is trying to look for comforts or shortcuts. Even that is possible. So what did Parashara write? That moon is good in Kendras and Konas. That is because the person gets comforts. And as I always keep saying, every Jyotisha book is written for kings in olden days. It is not meant for ordinary people. Okay, so you have to look at it from the king's sense. That is why there are so many Raja Yogas being described, because all the books were meant for kings, not for ordinary people. Ordinary people did not have charts, did not have birth time noted. All that they knew is what their Janma Nakshatra is. That is why every year there used to be a Panchang Shravana on the Ugadi day. That's it. There ends the matter. Nothing more, because money was not important then. And relationships or the marriage was only within that community. They were not going outside the community. So the girl was already known to them, and everybody is known to them from the girl's family or the boy's family. In such cases, what happens? You don't need a horoscope anymore, right? If there is a dispute, etc., they'll sit all together, will sit and try to explain it to the people, and everything went well. Okay, and the job was just the father's job. So why do they have to worry about career or money or anything? Money did not matter in those days, right? So the books, the Jyotisha, the Granthas were all written for kings, not for ordinary people. Today, we are trying to understand it from the ordinary people's sense. Okay. The basis is Krishna is the moon as per Parashara Maharshi. So, based on the understanding that we have from the Mahabharata, the Pandavas are from the Chandra Vamsha. That means the Rama is the Surya Vamsha king, whereas the Pandavas are the Chandra Vamsha kings. In case of Rama, what happened is Rama is the direct Surya Vamsha king, and it is all about his his thing. In case of moon, what happens is, although Krishna is not the Chandra Vamsha king, all the Pandavas are the Chandra Vamsha kings, and Krishna only helped them. So that is the theme that we should look at. So as we have talked about in the previous classes, moon does not do anything on its own. It always needs a partner to execute plans for it. Okay, so that is the theme of it. Now let us understand the 12 houses in which moon will be there. You may have moon in any of the 12 houses from the Lagna. What are those results based on the Mahabharata? From the Krishna's thing, Pandava stories, and moon's Puranic stories. All three we will mix and try to understand what it can represent. Like we did for the sun, first house, if you have sun in Lagna, we've talked about the father. Okay, there is a significant event in the father's life is what we have talked about when we have sun in the Lagna. Similarly, moon represents the mother. So you have moon in the Lagna. There is a significant event for the mother when the birth of this particular child happens. So when you look at the mothers of the Pandava, I mean the mother of the Pandavas, the Kunti Devi, or the Krishna and Balarama's mother, the Devaki, what we will understand is they were in tremendous pressure. They were not happy when they were delivering these kids. okay, for their own reasons, because Devaki was in the Vasudeva and Devaki were in the prison because Kamsa has put them into the prison. So that is the challenge that they had. So the mother either is, having some issue either on the financial side or not getting enough love from the husband, or she has something to cry about during the time when the childbirth is taking place. This can happen most of the times. If there are very good aspects of Jupiter, etc., with the full moon, then there may be a possibility that mother is very happy as well. This can also happen, but that's a very rare instance. So in one line, what we can understand is the mother has some or the other significant event that is happening in her life while this kid is being born, is what you'll understand from the moon in Lagna. As we move forward, when the moon is in the second house deals with the family. Let us understand also the moon in the second house would mean the childhood of these people, the Pandavas, Krishna, Balarama, etc. Okay, so if you see the childhood of Pandavas or Krishna, Balarama, they had so many, Krishna and Balarama were raised in the Gokul, where they had so many children around them and they were playing all together. Okay, Pandavas also have, Pandavas are like 5 people, 5 Pandavas are there. Alongside them, they also have the Kauravas, who are about 100 people. So there are lots of cousins all around them. And Pandavas do not belong to the same father, so they were all half brothers to each of them. Because Arjuna's father is Indra, Yudhishthira's father is the Yamadharmaraja, and you have similarly the Ashwini Devatas for the Nakula and Sahadeva, and Vayu for the Bhima. So they have, they are like in a step-brotherly relationship with each other. So you may have kids at your home who are like, could be adopted or could be a step-brotherly relationship. Or there is a lot of influx of cousins while these people were growing up, while the native was growing up. There is a lot of influx of cousins, who were staying with these people, maybe for studies or, frequent visits of cousins, either from the father's side or mother's side or both. A lot of people used to come and dine along with them who were being called as their cousins, because moon is food and the second house is the childhood, and also the second house represents the family, both. So you would get to see a lot of people being, a lot of people coming into the home while these people are being raised, and they were eating alongside the native. This also can be possible. Also, there can be a possibility of, having a stepbrother or a stepsister, etc. Okay, moon in the third house. What we can see in the third house is the siblings, right? So the third house deals with the siblings. So Pandavas, the cousins or the siblings, are the Kauravas. Okay, and for Krishna, the sibling is the Balarama. For moon, it is the Dattatreya and the Durvaso Maharshi, because Dattatreya, Durvaso Maharshi, and moon, all the Chandra, were all these children of Atri and Anasuya Devi. Atri is the Maharshi, Anasuya Devi is the wife of the Maharshi Atri. Both were blessed with 3 children. One is Dattatreya, one is Durvaso, and the other one is the moon. Okay, so moon has different evolutions and different phases of the whole history. So once moon was evolved from the Kshir Sagar Mathan. Okay, so when the Manthan of the Kshir Sagara was happening, there also moon came out. Alongside moon also came the Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is also one of the siblings of the moon. So what we can see is, with the Kauravas in place, you may have jealous brothers or sisters who are competing with the natives, or there is no jealousy, but they are in a kind of a competition. They are in kind of a competition where, if the native buys a car, his siblings also will buy a car very soon. Okay, if they are at the same level of, of the social ladder. I mean, if they are of the same social status. If the social status is lower, then what can happen is the the jealousy thing can come up. That can be seen based on the Navamsha, etc., how the third house, etc., are placed with respect to the Rasi Tulya Navamsha, etc., and understand if there is a jealousy factor or not involved with the third house. Otherwise, what you would see is if you are developing in in your life, then there is not jealousy, but the other brothers are also I'm sorry, are also following the track of you. Sorry. Okay. So second thing is, so one can be jealousy. Second thing is the competition. The third thing is fighting for the inheritance, because Kauravas and Pandavas were fighting for the inheritance, and ultimately the Pandavas won. One is the jealousy. The other one could be, all of them are trying to be equaling each other in the social status. So they are trying to match up to the native, or the native is trying to match up to his siblings. Okay. You can have both positives and negatives here. Both can be possible. And also, the other thing is moon in the third house. If you look at Balarama, who wanted always a peaceful ending for everything, never wanted conflicts, and always stayed neutral in the wars. So he never supported the Kauravas or the Pandavas. Okay. So the person is trying to be neutral to avoid conflicts. This can also be possible. If there are, let us suppose, 5, 6 siblings, this man is not trying to support anyone, or maybe 3 or more. Okay. Also, the other one is the person is rising up in the life, because moon's other sibling is Lakshmi, which is the god of wealth. So it can also so happen that the person is rising up in the life. Okay. And moon in the fourth house. Moon in the fourth house represents the mothers. Try to understand how the mothers of Pandavas, mother of Krishna and the mother of the moon were. Anasuya Devi, everybody knows. She has very good caste. She's a very big pativrata. So the mother is very powerful when you have the fourth house moon. So powerful would not mean a commanding or a demanding a woman, because this is a woman, this is a female trait of the moon. The moon is in the fourth house would mean, you know, the mother is trying to influence decisions of this person, of this native, or the native, if any decision the native is taking, it directly influences the mother, or it has some effect on the mother. So the native, let's suppose the native gets a job. The mother will be in a situation wherein, the mother will be the most affected if the native gets a job outside of his city. So the native will think, okay, how would my mother survive without me? So maybe I have to move my mother as well. If I cannot move my mother for these reasons, I have to accommodate my mother into a place where she is very safe. Okay. And whenever, because if you look at the Kunti's behavior during the Ajnatavasa, during the Aranyavasa, that means during the exile of the Pandavas, Kunti Devi always accompanied these Pandavas and tried to help them with food, cooking, and all the chores that they were needing at home. So Kunti was cooking food, trying to distribute food for Bhima. She used to give half of the meal to Bhima, because they were living in poverty then. They were not kings anymore because they were in the exile. So Bhima was getting a lot of food, and the rest of the Pandavas used to get half of it. Okay. So the mother is trying to distribute wealth with all the resources that is available in the family, and she's trying to ration them up. So she knows which kid needs more money or more resources. So she is trying to influence the decision for the native. However, she is not harshly spoken, but she's a very, diplomatically spoken woman. Okay, this much you can understand. The other one that you can look at is, if the person is following the orders of the mother, or if the person is trying to oblige what mother is saying, the person is trying to excel in his life and go up the ladder. Otherwise, he has some or the other problems with respect to the comforts, because moon influences the comforts or sustenance of yogas. So there can be a drop in the yogas. Okay. Next is moon in the fifth house. So moon in the fifth house, look at the children of the Pandavas, like you have Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu's child is Parikshit. Moon's children is, we have taken Mercury. So you see, the fifth house deals with children. The fifth house deals with promises as well. So if you see, you have fifth house sun. Sun is a stable planet. The person will be able to deliver what he has promised. But if you have fifth house moon, the planning itself will be wrong from the native. The native will think he'll be able to deliver a lot more and try to overpromise, and then will be delivering less. Or it can be the other way around. That means he underestimates himself and tries to promise very less, and he can only contribute very less to the promise. Both can happen. So there can be promises that cannot be upkept by the native. This is a challenge for the moon in the fifth house. So if you have moon in the fifth house, the correction that you can make for yourself is, do not try to overpromise people. Okay. Next is, because Abhimanyu promised to their parents, or to his mother, that look, I know how to get into the Padma Vyuha, so let me go in. Anyway, once going in, I have seen, so I'll come out somehow. So I'll manage and I'll come back. But he could not keep his promise, could not come back. Okay, but moon in the fifth house could be, you may have a very blessed child. Okay, you may have, because of the Krishna's kripa, you may have the children. Okay, or children are attracted towards Krishna. This can also be a possibility. Or you have, because the fifth house is the mantra house, so you may also have attraction towards Krishna. This can also be possible. And if you look at the love house, the house of love is also fifth house. So you have moon in the fifth house. It means as a married man or a woman, there are chances that you may slip into affairs, love affairs outside the marriage. So one has to be careful in these circumstances when you have fifth house moon, because fifth house moon tries to be emotionally bonded to people. So if somebody cries in front of them, they'll get emotional and they develop an emotional bond towards them. So it is easy to psychologically blackmail these natives, okay, and develop some intimacy along with them. And I'm not saying that everybody who has fifth house moon will have an affair. The only thing what I'm trying to say is D1 will tell you how your basic attitude can be. So this is only a caution. If the affair has to develop, you also have to see the Navamsha. You also have to see the Dasha. Okay, because these are big things. If children have to be there, you have to see the Dashamsha. Sorry, you have to see the Saptamsha, and also you have to see the Dasha. Without seeing any of those, you cannot confirm big events like children, affairs. These are big things in life. Okay, so all that I'm saying is the chances are high for people who have a fifth house moon. So try to be careful in those aspects is what I'm trying to talk about. The children are all very capable, but they may have a fair share of pitfalls, or they are trying to overcommit, or they are trying to say that, or moon is the person who does not know how much to commit. Okay, because it's not a stable planet. It does not understand how much it is worth of. Okay. Then moon in the sixth house. Moon in the sixth house, sixth house can deal with the enemies. So as per Ramayana, Mahabharata, the enemies are the cousins, right? So there can be clashes with cousins, or so-called cousins in the sense, you may be working in an office, you are at the same level people, so you may have clashes with those people. Okay, in such cases, if you see the Krishna side, what happens is you take Shishupala. Shishupala is the cousin of Krishna as well. So in the initial days, the Shishupala was doing a lot of mistakes. Krishna has promised to his mother that he would not kill him till he commits 100 mistakes. Okay. So Shishupala went up to an extent of demeaning Krishna himself. So a lot of people asked Krishna, why did you have to wait for so long that this useless Shishupala to be beheaded? So such things can happen with the native as well, wherein the other colleagues in the office who would say that, why have you been supporting a Shishupala kind of a person and waited till 100 mistakes to be committed by him, and then you taught him a lesson, or got him rid of the company, etc. Okay, so maybe this person is a little higher in the position, and the Shishupala is reporting to him. Okay, assume it like that. So the person may get a little blame on those things. And when the war was happening, you look at Krishna, how did he distribute the what is that? The army of Krishna was distributed between Kauravas and Pandavas. How did he distribute that? Krishna said, all of the army that goes into the Kauravas, and I would be weaponless, and I would support the Pandavas. This man Duryodhana was very happy with this decision, because with that, what Duryodhana thought is, okay, Krishna would be, weaponless. So, and we are getting the whole of the army with us. So it is already we have a bigger army, and now we have more army, right? So all those people who worked for Krishna are actually standing against Krishna now, right? So you would see these kind of situations when you have sixth house moon, wherein the person is trying to give up a lot of things to his enemies. He's trying to support his enemies more, and he's trying to not support his people. Okay, because for the sake of giving fair chance to people, sixth house moon is highly confused of who is his own people or who are the enemies. There is a lot of confusion in that context. So the person may be completely trying to help the opposite side instead of his people. And also, if you look at the daily routine of these people, the daily routine of these people is a lot disturbed. One day they'll wake up at a time, 4 o'clock. The other day they'll wake up at 5. They may wake up at 7, 8. There's no fixed routine, because sixth house is the routine, and moon does not follow routine. One day it is big, the other day it is small. Okay, so even the routine is a problem in the sixth house. Usually sixth and eighth houses for moon is considered bad for the moon, not for the person. Okay, it depends on how you are trying to make use of the energy. Okay, because moon in the sixth house, you also have great people like Albert Einstein is there. So it is not that you have moon in the sixth house, oh, it is gone and all the life is gone, or moon in the eighth house, all the life is gone. No, it is not like that. It doesn't work like that. It can only give you what characteristics you will carry with these positions. Okay, it has nothing to do with the success or not. Okay, success does not depend on one planet. Okay, so never think that, okay, you have a sixth house moon, somebody has a fourth house moon. It may so happen that the sixth house moon achieves a lot because this person is, unhappy about everything. He is thinking, I'm not achieving anything. The sixth house moon fellow is always thinking that, look, why am I unhappy? So he'll find a reason for why he's unhappy. Same is the case with eighth house moon. When you have moon in the wrong places, okay, the sixth house, eighth house, etc., the advantage is the person tries to be unhappy always and tries to find out why he is unhappy, and maybe if he can work for it. That's another thing. Working moon cannot give you. You need to have planets in places where it will work. I mean, where the hard work will happen, like the Saturn, Mars. These planets have to help you around in making the hard work. When we talk about Saturn, when we talk about Mars, I'll give you more explanation of how they will help you to work. Okay, especially when they are placed in the 3, 6, 10, 11 houses. They're very important for Saturn, Mars, Sun, these kind of Papa Grahas. Okay, so moon in the 6th house would mean the person is unhappy and trying to find out why he is unhappy. If everything is in order, even then the person is unhappy. Okay, 6th house, 8th house especially. And 6th house moon can also be so that a lot of things are achieved in the childhood, because Krishna killed Putana when he was a kid, very small kid. He killed Putana, a demon, and he did the Kaliya Mardana. He went on to, dance upon the snake in the water. Okay, he killed a big snake and he danced over the hood of the snake. And he also did a lot of things. He did Govardhanagiri. He lifted up the whole mountain and asked all the villagers to come beneath the mountain so that he could protect every one of them. But after the Krishna has grown up, after he has reached adolescence, etc., Krishna has never fighted with anyone. He never fought with anyone. He always, took the help of either Bhima, because when Jarasandha came up to, war with Krishna, he always ran away, and he left Mathura and he built his kingdom in Dwarka. You may say that, okay, there are 100 reasons for it from the text point of view, from the Mahabharata point of view. But this discussion solely will limit us to the Jyotisha point of view. So we're not saying Krishna is not a god or anything of that sort. We're only trying to micro understand how moon can affect a person. So we are not saying Krishna, he wishfully escaped because it is, he was destined only to be killed by Bhima. All that we know. We are not debating on that. We are trying to understand what happened to Krishna after he has reached, some age. So how does this affect the native? Is that the native as well would be trying to, exhibit a lot of intelligence, etc. at the young age, maybe till 17, 18, 20. And later on, the person actually becomes little passive. He only works when there is support available for him. So Krishna has become a strategist after that, and only tried to direct Pandavas to do something, but he with his own hands did nothing. This is what you can get to see with 6th house moon. Okay, so 6th house moon and 10th house moon, when they go to work, you will see that they need partnership. They need somebody to help them around. Okay. 7th house moon. Okay. So now let us see the spouses of Pandavas and Krishna, and also moon. So you see Pandavas, all of them are 5 people. They had one wife, Panchali. Krishna had multiple wives, multiple relationships, and Krishna was also an Askhalita Brahmachari. He never married or never had any relationship. Okay. And what else? This man, Moon, had 27 wives. Besides that, he fell in love with Tara, the wife of Jupiter. So by and large, what you will see is the placement of Moon in the 7th house is not very good placement with respect to marriage. Okay. The positive side of Moon in the 7th house is the person has a very high magnetic personality. Okay. A lot of people will like him. Most likely the opposite sex will like him. If this man becomes a salesman, a lot of people will try to be in touch with him, provide him with orders, etc. 7th house, the only problem with 7th house moon is 7th house moon keeps everything in pending. Okay, that means, let's suppose the person goes out to look for girls for marriage. Okay, or if it is a woman, if she goes out to find boys for marriage, what he does is he would always keep everybody in pending. Okay, and keep looking further up and up. Okay, so the decision is not being made. He'll keep saying, look, I'll marry, don't worry, I'll come back, I haven't taken a decision as yet. Okay. And, the girl would be thinking, okay, this guy will come back and marry me. Okay. And there can be a bad name on this account. Okay. So one has to understand, although these things will need Navamsha, confirmations, etc. One has to understand that he has to pick and finish. It's not that you keep the account of it for 6 months or 7 months running. Okay, that is one. And also the possibility is you have multiple relationships as well. Okay, so fifth house, seventh house moons, they have to be careful of not developing relationships outside marriage. However, as I always say, please do not conclude merely by having Lagna and moon in the fifth house, moon in the seventh house. Just immediately after looking at it, please don't say this man has multiple affairs. This is very wrong, because you will see hundreds of people with moon in the fifth house or the seventh house. Not everybody has relationships. It takes a long, it's actually more difficult to start a relationship than to learn astrology or do rocket science. Okay, so you need combinations of Navamsha. You need combinations to confirm affairs. We will talk in detail about Navamsha. Till the time, please understand, this is the tree. The D1, the Rasi chart is the tree. You plant a mango tree in D1, you get mangoes in the D9. You plant a coconut tree in the D1, you get coconuts in the D9. It means you have seventh house moon, it gives you a magnetic personality, that is for sure. Are you making use of that magnetic personality in, winning, relationships with, illicit relationships with women, or are you trying to use it for your diplomacy and try to build up more business for it? It depends on you. Okay. So a person can still be very good despite having, very good in the sense, may not be having any relationships despite having fifth house moon or seventh house moon. Okay. So please don't make, and moreover, we have not seen the whole horoscope. So whatever is canceling it can also be there. If you have a very good Saturn in the Lagna, you have a very good Jupiter in the Lagna, okay, or a Sun in the Lagna, there are possibilities of cancellation. Okay, so just not merely depend on seventh moon. Okay, hope I'm making some sense. All right, so moon in the eighth house. So the person, as I said, moon in the eighth house again is usually considered a bad placement for the moon, which may not be for the person, for the native. It depends on how the person is making use of it. Okay, so moon in the eighth house would mean, big transformation after the person has reached adolescence in case of boys or men. Just after marriage, there's a big change for women. Usually with eighth house moon, they go a little far off from the parents for girls. For boys, they also go far off in search of jobs, and they don't come back usually till majority of their life is over, or till the time they are retired. When they're reaching about 55, 60, they'll come back to their original place. Okay, so till that time, the person Krishna, if you take Krishna was trying to kill too many people. He had a lot of achievements in his kitty, and after that, there can be a few struggles, especially in the middle age, with respect to what meeting people, because moon actually exalts in the second house. What do you have in the second house? The family. So there are either some disputes in the family wherein, not enough people are talking to them for various reasons. Maybe they are living outside, very far off, so you will not get to meet them every day. That can be a possibility. So the person lives in the US, okay, and just assume it 20 years ago. It's very difficult for people to call. Today, phones have come in, and everything has improved. The communication has improved. So there's very, very less talking that used to happen 20 years ago. So what you will see is, even if the person lives in the next state, Okay, so STD, those things were very uncommon. Phones were very uncommon. So you will see that not enough talking is happening with the family. Okay, so it can be for various reasons. One is the person has bad terms with the father, mother, siblings, etc. That's why the person is not talking to them and trying to hide himself. Okay, moon eighth house is the house of hidden areas. So the person is trying to hide himself from everyone, does not want to talk to anyone, be in isolation. These are the negative traits of having moon in the eighth house, but not necessarily everybody hides himself. This can be the wrong negative side of it, but on the positive side, the person lives in the US or a remote place where not everyday talking is possible. Such things can be there. And what else can you see? Not being able to stay at the home that they are building. Okay, the example that I can give is the father has built up a great home for this native, but once the person has reached adolescence, he said, "Look, let me do MS in the US. So I'll fly off to US." And after that, he found a job there, and later on, he went on changing jobs. Only lived in the US. The father was thinking, "Why did I build all this house? Okay, because I thought this man, this kid of mine will stay alongside me." But ultimately, that never happened. Another story, what happened is the girl got married off uh, to a person who lives like 1,500 kilometers away from where the girl belonged to. And in the initial days, the girl thought, okay, let me buy a house in the village where I belong. And she bought a house. And her kids, when they have grown up, the kids said, "Look, mom, please don't go back to your village. Please live in a city because we all live in the US." So the girl never could, go back and live in the place where she built a home. Ultimately, it was let into rent, and in the rent as well is very meager, very small amount comes in as a rent. Okay, these are those things that you can look at when you have eighth house moon. Moon in the ninth house. Look at how it used to be for the father of the Pandavas, the Pandu, and the Guru also will be seen from the ninth house. So Pandava's Guru is Dronacharya, and also the father of Krishna, that is the Vasudeva, and the Guru of the Krishna, that is the Jupiter himself, the Graha Jupiter himself. So Pandu Maharaj and Dronacharya have lost their lives because they have become emotional. Everybody understands it from Drona's point of view. Dronacharya was fighting a big battle in the Kurukshetra. Krishna called upon Ajatshatru Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira, and told him, "Look, you just utter Ashwadhama Hatha, okay, and say it in a very small voice, as if it can be, cannot be heard by anyone, because there's a huge roar. There is war. There is a huge roar. Not everybody can listen to you. Okay, yell at everyone saying Ashwadhama Hataha and just say Kunjaraha." So Dronacharya thought, okay, my kid Ashwadhama is dead. So he became emotion. He got into emotions, and immediately he lost his life. Pandu was cursed not to have physical relationship with wives. But Pandu became a little emotional with his wife, not the Kunti but the Madri, and ultimately Pandu died. So I'm not saying that you have moon in the ninth house, your father would be dead. No, it is not. It's not that I'm saying. It's a metaphor. What we have to understand from this is father is emotional. Okay? Father is emotional, and therefore maybe he has some issues in life because he could not control his emotions in life. Okay, and you look at Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the father of Krishna. Some call him Vasudeva, some call him Vasudeva. Both are right. Okay, Vasudeva got released from prison by Krishna himself. So only when the kid, the native, rises up in his life, the father will also rise in his life. Okay, this can also mean it. And the other thing is Drona was betrayed by Pandavas because Ashwadhama Hataha was uttered by Yudhishthira himself. So Drona felt very betrayed, right? So Jupiter also felt very betrayed by Moon, because Moon fell in love with Tara, the wife of Jupiter. So one has to be careful for not betraying his guru here. Okay, that is one more lesson that you make. So why I'm saying this is, you may have a horoscope which shows no problem with moon, because what everybody will think is, okay, you have a sixth house moon, so let us do a remedy for it. Have you ever seen a person doing a remedy for ninth house moon? No, right? Usually it will not strike so. But you may have very good moon placement at the outset, but it may so happen that your karma went wrong, and that's why you're suffering, and the problem lies in the ninth house, right? So you ask him, did you betray your guru? It need not necessarily be killing him, or it need not necessarily be, having an affair with his wife. It may be affecting his guru, in the sense somebody who has taught him in the office, and you try to, ditch him. Okay. And there is a downfall because of it. Because usually people approach astrologers and ask them, look, I don't know what mistake did I do? I did everything right. And why me? Okay, so the answer can lie in these things. So you try to ask him, even for those positions where moon is placed well. So do not think moon sixth house, eighth house are only going to get you pending karma. Pending karma can come from ninth house moon as well, fourth house moon as well. If you don't feed your mother well, if you get your mother out of your house, you yell at her and you don't listen to her, you have a pending karma of moon. You have to listen to your mother. And your problems are not going to solve just by paying 10 lakh of rupees to a pandit. It doesn't work like that. If somebody is asking 10 lakh rupees for doing a upay or something remedy, then that's not right. Please don't do that. Try to understand what really went wrong and try to do a practical remedy instead of spending 10 lakh rupees and getting nothing out of it. Okay, moon in the 10th house. So as I said, moon in the 10th house, what you would understand is the person has exhibited a lot of skills during the childhood. The person was standing first in the class, at least in the high school level. And later on, it so happened that the person became timid, or the person always wanted someone to stand alongside him, because he's feeling bored otherwise. I know a few people, I don't want to name them. They'll call up to his friend, to his colleague at the office, at home, and he would ask him, hey, are you up for office today? If the colleague says, look, I'm taking a leave today, even this guy also will take a leave, because he's very attached to him at the office. If he can't find him in the office, he would feel very lonely for that day. He also does not want to continue at work for that day. Okay, you will get to see people who are resigning together at the office, because this man is leaving. I also want to leave. There is no, support for me at the office. I feel very emotionally attached to this person. Okay, these are those kind of people who have a 10th house moon. Okay, the more specially it is placed, like you have exalted moon in the 10th house, the likeliness is more. Okay, you have moon in the own house, the likeliness is more. You have moon in the Scorpio, the likeliness is more. Okay, right. So what these people are very good at are, because Krishna is a very good strategist. Okay, so he made a very good strategy for these people, the Pandavas, to work upon, and he always tried to help them. So if the office is allowing the person, the native, to to do a strategy kind of a thing, and always being assisted by others, then this native is very happy. If he does not get assistance to do any of the work, okay, then there is a problem with this man. He wouldn't want to work at all. He would say, look, I'm leaving because I cannot do this work. Okay, this is a lot of physical labor. I cannot do that. Okay, this is a lot of work. I cannot do it. I can make a strategy, and he will make such a strategy that nobody else can make it. Okay, but I need people to, execute that strategy. That is how I am. And the management, if they know him well, they will definitely give him that thing, because he'll execute that thing very well. And at the end of the work, if even if everything goes well, there is still some blame that comes upon this man, because this man, Krishna, when the complete war was over, when Duryodhana was also killed, when Krishna came back to meet Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the parents of Kauravas, Gandhari and Dhritarashtra cursed Krishna because they said, look, you claim yourself to be a god. Had you thought that the war should not happen, it would have stopped, but you did not take any action to stop it. So you might have won the war, but we are cursing you. And ultimately, Krishna had to die. All his community had to die. We have the story. Okay. So I'm not saying the person is going to die. Okay, that's again a metaphor. So it means that there is still some blame that comes to the person despite doing everything, strategizing everything, getting the plan executed very well. It would still fall short in something for which the man is blamed, but will not be looked upon for, for the credit, because the credit went to the Pandavas. Pandavas got the kingdom. What did Krishna get? He got nothing. Okay. So his team will get more credit than himself, despite the strategy is of him. Okay. And the person will not be unhappy for it. He's okay with that because he knows that, look, I have done my part and it's okay for it. Okay. Moon in the 11th house. Look at the elder brother of, because 11th house would deal with the elder brother. The elder brother of Krishna is Balarama. And the eldest brother of the whole Pandavas is the Yudhishthira. And Moon, Moon regards Jupiter to be his elder brother. Okay. So all of these people, just look at Balarama first. Balarama is fond of praise. Balarama is fond of flattery. Okay. So these people are, for people who have Moon in the 11th house, are very interested to stay with those people who praise them constantly. Any sort of criticism, they do not want to stay there. Okay. There is criticism, they don't want to take it. Because in the 10th house, there was a lot of criticism, right? So as the moon moved forward, it thought criticism is difficult to take. Why should I be feeling for it? So I'll not take any criticism. So if there is a criticism, the person will leave the scene. Okay. He'll ignore the other person. Keeps constantly boasting about himself that, look, I have done that, I have done this, I'm elder to Krishna. Arjuna is, my youngest brother and all that. Okay. And if you look at Yudhishthira, interests in gambling. How do you connect that to today is, if somebody comes up to them and says, look, if you put 20 rupees today, you get 200 rupees in 5 days. Okay. So that's kind of a gamble. So 90% of the times, 99, I think it's today, in today's time, 100% of the time, it will not come back. Okay. So they lose the money. And they also would like, because again, it's 3 houses away from the Lagna. So the person does not want to initiate wars. He would always want to keep calm, mum, not talk much. Okay. To initiate a war. So they'll keep themselves away from the war. They always want peace. Okay. And they believe everyone. If somebody walks up to him, praises him and says, look, this is what happened. Because when the Draupadi Vastraparana happened, this man Balarama was very furious on Kauravas. Kauravas played a trick. The Shakuni Mama instructed Duryodhana and said, look, Balarama will come now. Be ready for Balarama. Just kind of keep continuously praising him. And at the end, tell him that, look, we played, everybody was watching while we were playing. So when we played with all dharma in place. So all that they have lost is as per the dharma. So they said this is what they are going to lose, and they lost it. So now we are asking them to go to the jungle. What is wrong in this? Nothing. So see, you are the judge. You are the best man. You tell me now, sir. And Duryodhana sat at the feet of Balrama. Okay, the moment somebody does that, even if the person knows that this person is harmful, whoever is talking like that, they will still believe them and try to help them. Okay, so how do I say this? Just be careful when somebody is praising you if you have moon in the 11th house. But these people are lucky, okay? These people, because Yudhishthira waged the least of the war. Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadeva actually helped a lot for Yudhishthira to become the king, right? Similarly, Balarama and Krishna did a lot of work for Balarama. The god was actually serving Balarama because Krishna is the god and Balarama is not, right? So Balarama was still calling Krishna the younger brother, right? And moon in the 12th house. This also is a little challenging position for the moon. See, 12th house deals with exile, or 12th house deals with the isolation. Moon is a planet who is very happy in the second house. What is second house? Second house is uniting together with the family, right? Enjoying comforts with the family. Sitting in the couch of your TV room, watching a movie all together with your family, eating all together with your family, the dinner, the breakfast, etc., all with your family. So if these people are put into isolation, right? If they're going into isolation, they're not talking to anyone, if they're staying away from parents, this will bring in, what is that? Uh, depression, right? This will bring in depression. They're not talking to people because moon is a person who's responsible for the second house's exaltation, talking. Moon likes to talk a lot, right? So if moon gets into the 12th house, the person is not trying to talk. The person is going into isolation. Okay, if he goes into isolation, that's bad. Or if the person is very much in the society, if he's talking very well, and if he's speaking to a lot of people, he has his family, he talks to everyone in the morning, he works for everyone, right? And does all those things that are required for a common general person, it's all fine, right? If the person is afraid of identity, like I explained in the 8th house thing, and or if he has some overeating of food or undereating of food, and if he has some sleep disorders wherein either he's overly sleeping or sleeping very less, because moon represents both of these. Moon represents the night, especially, so it's a sleep thing. Moon represents the food, so it is the food thing. So either the food is too much or food is too less, that he's taking every day. If he has any of these things, then maybe he needs some counseling, or you have to get back him into the society. Otherwise, these people are very, very playful, joyful, happy to feed a lot of people, especially when they're traveling, because 12th house is traveling, moon is food. So they carry small things like chocolates, biscuits, cakes, simple stuff that can be, easily packed and brought into trains, etc. When you're doing a train travel, especially in India. These people try to feed even strangers as well. I mean, they offer food very happily. They have a very good smiling face, etc. If they're not doing that, if they're trying to hide themselves from the people, they're running away from the people, they're not into public life, they don't meet any people, then that is an area of concern. One has to address that. Maybe they take counseling or tell them, look, not the whole world is against you. Okay, these things, because they are fearful of the world. 8th house, 12th house, 6th house are fearful of the world. Okay. That is all about the moon in the 12th houses.